Hello graded card collectors, welcome to my very exciting PSA card reveal video. If you're new to the channel, I like to talk about a lot of collectible card games including Magic: The Gathering, Sorcery: Contested Realm, sometimes Flesh and Blood, and sometimes Mezu. We're going to cover all of those today on this very exciting video. In the description below, I will link the first part of this video where I talk about the cards I submitted to PSA and give you some of my predictions, and we'll find out if they turned out to be true or not today and see how we did. It's also October 10th today, and both eBay and PSA are doing some 10-10 promotions because it's 10-10, and so I'm hoping that there's a lot of PSA 10s in this order, but we'll find out and see here how that goes. I was very surprised. This order came back in about 3 weeks. I dropped it off at the Minnesota Sports Card Show. They drove it to California, sent me the grades. I did a little peek at the population report on PSA website, which is public information. Also, you don't have to be a Collectors Club member to access that, but you can also access that if you are a Collectors Club member. And I included all the grades between 8, 9, and 10 because I happen to know that all the cards in this submission graded between 8, 9, and 10. So I did get some 8s, I got some 9s, I got some 10s. Did not get any 7s and didn't get any 11s either. So we'll go through these. I'll show you how I did. I'll give you my comments as we go. Consider subscribing to the channel if you're a fan of PSA cards or just want more information about the hobby. I try to provide that once a week in some discussion videos and also do some entertaining box opening videos from time to time. So I have these in order of the submission. We'll start with the first card in the order, and it is a 2021 Flesh and Blood promo. It is the Rudy Gemkeeper promo from Alpha Investments. I like this card because it says you may only have PSA graded cards in your deck, and so now this one is PSA 9. It's also card number 001, promo card from LSS, Legend Storage Studio, and it is just a very nice example of the Flesh and Blood Rudy promo. According to the pop report, there are 12 copies in an 8. There are 89 copies in a mint 9 like this. 34 gem mint 10s with a total population of 137 copies in circulation. And I also had a previous copy that was graded by PCG, which is Rudy's grading company down there in Florida. It got a mint 9 as well. It had 10 centering and then 9 subgrades beyond that. So comparing the two cards, I wasn't sure if the copy I sent in was gonna get a 9, but it's still pretty solid condition. It matches the other one and the centering is very similar. So I'm happy to have 2 copies of the Rudy Gemkeeper in my collection now, and that the second one also got a 9 I think is pretty cool. So let's move along to the next card in the order. It is also a Flesh and Blood card. It is another cold foil promo. This was printed in 2023. It is the Pink Visor promo, and it got a mint 9. I was hoping also to get a 10 because with the Gemkeeper, you reveal the top card of your deck, and if it's graded Gem Mint 10, you put it into your hand. So if this were a PSA 10, you could play it in your Flesh and Blood deck and use the Rudy Gemkeeper's ability to just put this card into your hand. But it is a Rudy specialization. It's the first promo piece of gear. It's also in cold foil, like I mentioned before. You can kind of see the cold foil, very collectible, and also happy that that got a mint 9. The next card in the submission is also a Flesh and Blood promo. It is the Diamond Hands promo. It's the second piece of gear, Rudy specialization, that Alpha Investments released in 2023. Card number 8, it is graded also a mint 9. Population reports, the Pink Visor, there was 11 copies in an 8. There were 17 copies in a 9, this is one of those. There were only 4 Gem Mint 10 Pink Visors with a total population of 34 cards in circulation. Diamond Hands promo, 0 copies graded in an 8. There are 7 copies in a 9. This is one of 7. And there are 18 copies higher graded in a PSA 10. So a total of 25 copies have been graded by PSA, and this is one of the 9s. The next group of cards I believe we switched over to Mezu, which was a dead card game as of the submission of this video, of this order. But there has been some development. Mezu has cleared the bankruptcy, and there's been a buyer, a group called Meta2 LLC, purchased the rights to Mezu and its IP, so I don't know if they're gonna make more cards or not. But this first card that I had submitted in this order is a 2021 Mezu promo, the Rudy Investment Sasquatch, which was the first of the Mezu Rudy promos, and it got a PSA 10. Pretty cool. I think that is just fantastic. According to the Pop Report, Rudy Investment Sasquatch, there are 104 copies graded, 3 copies got an 8, 31 copies got a mint 9, and 62 copies got a gem mint 10. So this is one of 62 copies in gem mint 10. The next Mezu card in the order is a Rudy Claus. This was a very popular promo that was included in the Rudy 6.9 year anniversary kits. This was released by Mezu in 2022, and it got a mint 9. So pretty happy with that. I thought hopefully this would get a 10, but it came back a 9. Rudy Claus, there is one of the most popular Mezu promos to be graded. There are currently 473 copies in circulation. 35 got an 8, 183 got a 9, which is this, and 251 copies in gem mint 10 for the Rudy Claus. The next promo in the order, I believe, was the Crayon Eater. Here is the last Mezu promo released by Rudy and Alpha Investments. It's part of the Fan Art 2022 set, and this copy got a gem mint 10. Pretty cool. Population report on the Crayon Eater. There's 1 copy and an 8, 1 copy and a 9, 13 copies in a gem mint 10. So this is one of 15 copies submitted, but that got a 10. Pretty cool. That's pretty cool. And then I have the crayons as well. There's 3 colored crayons that you attach to the Rudy Crayon Eater. The first one is the blue crayon. I pulled a PSA 9 from PSA. The blue crayon, there are 2 copies in an 8, 2 copies in a 9, 6 copies in a PSA 10 for 10 copies total, graded by PSA. Then there is also a green crayon in this set. And so the green crayon looks like this, has art drawn by Rudy's family. And this particular copy got a mint 9. I was expecting 9s or 10s on all of these. They all came in factory sealed packages, so I knew they weren't touched by human hands. And so the only potential flaws on these cards were printing defects like edge issues or corner issues from the cutting, or even possibly centering. But this one's pretty well centered. It's still got a 9. Population report on the green crayon, 0 copies in an 8. There are only 3 copies in a 9, 6 copies in a 10, so a total of 9 copies in circulation. The last crayon in the Mezu Crayon Eater set is the red crayon. This got a gem mint 10. I think it looks great with the red border on the cards and the red border on the label. So I like Mezu cards in the PSA holders. Perhaps the prices of these cards will go up now that Mezu has been purchased. But numbers on the red crayon, 0 copies in an 8, only 2 copies in a 9, and 6 copies in a 10. So this is one of 6 in 10 and one of 8 copies in circulation total. So very low print run on those cards. Happy to have those in my personal collection. Then I went over to Magic the Gathering. The rest of the cards in this order are all MTG. I tried my luck on some of the older foil cards in this set. I'm a big fan of the Urza's Saga promotional pre-release Lightning Dragon foil. I had several copies of these in my collection, so I pulled out the very best copy I could find and I submitted it to PSA, and it came back a near mint to mint 8 That was the lowest grade in the submission. I was possibly expecting that because of its age and some of the condition issues with the foiling on the card. But the population report, Lightning Dragon, there are 25 copies in a PSA 8. This is one of 25. There's only 13 copies higher in a Mint 9, and this has 0 copies ever graded in a PSA 10, and there have just been 80 copies complete graded total in the circulation. The next foil card is also a Magic the Gathering foil. It's also vintage Magic. It was the Second Chance foil from Urza's Legacy, printed in 1999. I thought this card had a pretty good chance of getting a PSA 9 or 10, and then I realized the centering was probably a little bit off. So this came back also near mint to mint 8, which I think is still a pretty solid condition for a 30-some-year-old foil card. Lightning Second Chance foil. Population report, there are 7 copies in an 8. There's only 1 PSA 9, and there are 0 PSA 10s, just like the Lightning Dragon. So there's only 11 copies have been graded, and this is one of the 7 copies in a PSA 8. I also have another PSA 8 that I purchased on the way. Continuing with Magic the Gathering, this was still a foil card. This is a retro frame foil from the Modern Horizons 2 set released in 2021. This is the famous Misty Rainforest. I thought this would do pretty well because I had pulled it from a pack opening, but it got a near mint 8, unfortunately. So according to the pop report, Misty Rainforest retro foil, there's 1 copy in an 8, that's this copy. There are 6 copies in a 9 and 1 copy in a Gem Mint 10, but there's only been 8 copies graded in total. So that's the Misty Rainforest. I also submitted the Scalding Tarn from the Modern Horizons 2 set. It is the retro frame foil. This one was centered a little bit better, and it got a mint 9. So we're back on track with the mint grades. According to the pop report, there are 2 copies in an 8, only 4 copies in a PSA 9, 1 copy in a Gem Mint 10, but only 7 copies have been graded thus far. And then I went over to the Mystical Archives Strixhaven subset, insert parallel, and I submitted some of my Demonic Tutor cards. This was just the regular Mystical Archive Demonic Tutor from 2021, and I thought this might have some edge issues based on the way it was printed and pressed, but it came back a mint 9, not too bad for the Demonic Tutor. There have only been 19 copies graded, 3 in a PSA 8 holder, 5 in a PSA 9 holder, and 11 PSA 10s for that Demonic Tutor. The next card in the submission was also a Demonic Tutor. It looks very similar to the last one, but this one has a foil etched surface to it. Right on there is some foil etching, and then right around the text box you can see the foil etching. This card also got a mint 9, and according to the pop report, there are 4 copies in a 9, 5 copies in a PSA 10 holder, so for a total population of 9 graded foil etched Demonic Tutors. The last Demonic Tutor that I had graded was also Mystical Archives. This was the alternate art Japanese etched foil version. The etched foiling on this one is a little more subtle, but it looks pretty iconic here. And condition on the alt art Japanese etched foil is mint 9. So all 3 Demonic Tutors got a mint 9. According to the pop report on the Japanese foil etch, there are 3 copies in an 8, 15 copies in a PSA 9, 27 copies in a Gem Mint 10 for a total of 45 copies in circulation. And then a couple more cards left. This one is probably my favorite card of the submission. This was the Frank Frazetta Dark Ritual Secret Layer Drop. And I thought, I'd be happy with a PSA 9 on this card. and it came back PSA 10 Gem Mint. Looking at the population report on this Dark Ritual, there are 16 copies in circulation. 7 of them are 9s and 9 of them are PSA 10s, but that's pretty sweet. We also just picked up the Frank Frazetta Witch promo from Sorcery Arthurian Legends. That was in my video yesterday, I believe. I revealed that grade. The last 3 are all from Phyrexia All Will Be One Oil Slick variants. The first card is a Traxa Grand Unifier, and these were all pulled from packs by me, so I was expecting a pretty good return on these grades. And this card got Gem Mint 10. Pretty good. All right, and population report on the Atraxa: 6 copies in an 8, 19 copies in a 9, 44 copies in a 10. So this is one of 44, and total population is 70 cards in circulation. And then 2 more to go. The next Oil Slick variant card in the set was the Elish Norn Mother of Machines. This was also pulled from the Phyrexia All Will Be One packs. Population report was 9 copies in an 8, 17 copies in a 9, 57 copies in a 10, of which this is a PSA 10. So there were 84 copies total of Elish Norn. And last but not least is the Mondrak Glory Dominus. As I spill all the cards here. Mondrak Glory Dominus, last card in the submission. This was also the Oil Slick variation. This got another PSA 10. 0 copies in 8, 5 copies in a 9, 15 copies in a 10, so a total population of 20 copies of the Mondrak Glory Dominus. I'm probably going to list some of these on eBay and let some of the Oil Slick cards go. But I was very happy with this submission overall from PSA. Out of 20 cards, I got 7 cards came back Gem Mint 10, 10 cards came back PSA 9, Mint 9, and only 3 cards that came back a near mint to mint 8. So I didn't get any near mint 7s, that's pretty good. And hopefully, because it's October 10th, the PSA 10s, I did a little better. But let me know in the comments if you thought that this was a worthwhile submission. Would you have graded these cards? Did they do better or worse than you thought they would if you watched the previous video? Let me know. I'm going to be grading some sorcery avatars. I'm going to send those into PCG next. So stay tuned for my upcoming grading submission videos and sorcery box openings. I'm going to try to get some foil cards in the sorcery set and be collecting those sets. So subscribe to the channel if you enjoy the content and want to follow along in the set collecting and the grading process, and leave any questions below in the comments. I'm happy to answer those for you when time allows. And thanks everyone. Appreciate you for watching today. Have a great month, rest of the year. Have a great 2024. We'll see you in 2025 for some more collecting. Thanks everyone.